So we've seen a lot of success in the last couple of years. 2018, 2019 have been big years for Revel. You guys have won a lot of awards and you've been doing really great. Obviously, like you just mentioned, you've reinvested back in the team and things are growing. Are you expanding?
Are you talking about my waistline, Mate?
Why are you looking at him strange?
I mean, it's been a big couple of years, especially this one.
I'm going great and expanding.
Look, that's a hard question, so can't really talk too much about it, but there's some really cool things happening in 2020 for Revel. And, I think the conversation is around, how to grow business and how to maintain our values and quality. And realistically, it's a really nervous topic for me because we're only 2 years and statistically a lot of businesses crumble as they expand in that early window. So for me, it's about how do we create a business model that is really sustainable in this very interesting industry that's got some great growth in it. You look at the IBIS reports, it's definitely craft is growing double digits year on year, but kind of dovetailing what we said before is expansion will be by maintaining our core values and living and breathing it, kind of reinvesting in our staff and making sure they're happy and healthy and they've got an environment to innovate in. And then, doubling down on all of the things that we've been great at, which is, kind of good quality product and authentic engagement with our community. And I think if we can tick those boxes, our trajectory will be amazing. And I'm really proud to hear about like Dave Kitchen and Ballistic and all the great things that they're doing. And it's like kudos to those boys. Like they've really knocked it out of the park with their growth. And it's just, I get stressed when I hear about people doing it because I'm like, oh, we're all so young, but it's such a ripe field for opportunity. But it's also very scary too when you're playing in an area that you may not know a lot about.
Yeah, there is a tipping point of where you kind of see yourself in a couple of years, and if you're kind of happy doing the same thing for a little bit longer than usual, or you do get to that point where you're like, well, I'm just going to bite the bullet and do something about it kind of thing. So, yeah, there is that grey area that creates a lot of
it's not as grey as your
nervous moments.
Handlebars, mate.
Hey, mate, those tips are just silver as, mate.
The silver fox. I'll tell you one thing, though, that was like, we've touched on this in previous episodes, that was a surprise, is that I would never expand Revel if it wasn't, for my best mate over there. And people said, you'll lose relationships out of a company, and especially in the first couple of years. And mate, I can tell you, like we are.
I didn't like him to start with, but now I actually do like him.
So
we're having a total opposite effect.
Is your plan just to phase him out over time?
Yeah.
That's a let's go, wasn't it?
There's this great bridge that I want you to come and have a look at. Let's have a beer.
Have a quiet beer one night.
Off you go.
But no, like the people in it. We have conversations like, would you be interested in galvanizing this year, and then so we can build a strong foundation to grow? And they're like, yeah. Well, we won't do this without our team, and every single person's behind it. And I got my best mate sitting in the chair day to day, right beside me, going, let's move forward, let's keep innovating, let's keep pivoting. And I think that's a really exciting thing because people told us it could be very different when we first started, and we thought we were honestly, like at one point I thought we were going to lose the whole company in the first 3 months, and I call Flexi and go, man,
voice of reason.
Like, what are we going to do? Like, there's
you have branding problems and
there was so many issues. Like,
if you can have a worse start,
they all come at once too. That's
and having a year to look back on, use the data, pivot, put the plans in place, and then to have the same people beside you, fully focused on continuing, then it's great. The same amount of energy, if more energy because of what we've achieved. And
learned and grown and everything like that. So,
and it probably just something we were talking about off air. Like, personally, I'm making a jump full time into my business, and it's like, well, I've had a plan, but I also know that the time is right. Whether it's right for me and where I'm at, it doesn't matter where markets are going, where trends are going. Like, I have to make a jump now.
Yeah.
Do you guys think about that a little bit with your industry as well? Like, okay, maybe we would like this, and that to be in order. But does it come a time where markets can potentially dictate to you?
That's a really good question, Faye. I mean, I don't think a lot of people don't know. They don't know that I don't work in the company full time. I kind of lead it in my spare time, which is pretty much every waking moment. So it is challenging because the company can't afford me to come in because I want to give every cent that I can and time and love for it to grow. And I'd rather see these guys starting to flourish before myself. I mean, obviously the end game is definitely I want to be involved in it. And I think that ties into an expansion conversation, but it is a volume game, and there's a certain amount of literage that we can produce here, and at some point you have to have more literage, and how you do that and maintain quality is really important. So we're probably taking the more complex path to maintain that quality and ensure that we have complete control. And I think at some point in the next couple of years, Revel will be in that space where we can all actually start drawing a decent wage to be able to then put all of our time and energy into it, which will be really fantastic. And I really look forward to that.
It's really interesting though, because you need to put your ego aside from that as well, because that would be hard to see this thing that's growing and doing so well, but you can't be in it every day. But that's just how it has to be. So I can really admire that.
Thank you, mate. I think there's and I look at the team and I go, every one of them is making daily sacrifices so that we can do what we do. And it might be the extra hours at the end of the night to pack up something more efficiently so it's easy for someone to unpack, or doing the deep clean a little bit better so it's easier the next day, or doing that extra push for the team so that we can. And everyone here I think works at like 100% as much as they can, and they all give. And I think culture is not one thing, it's a lot of stuff, but I think that's, for me, that's what I'm mostly proud of. And it's got a great culture, and it's got the foundations of being something truly awesome. And that's because of every single person. It's got nothing to do with me. It's about the people that are in it and living it day to day and injecting all their energy into it.
It's mainly about me.
It's mainly Gorag.
Yeah, it's mainly the mo.
Yeah. They work 120% in November.
When you whip them.
When this bad boy comes on board.
It's got the mo. I've got to work properly now.
He actually has multiple personalities. So
is it Gorag or Flexi today?
It's Gorag.
You don't want to find out.
When he does the eye, that's when you know you're talking to Gorag. You should show everyone the eye.
The glass eye? You got a glass eye.
There it is.
Oh, I do like him.
No, but you're not going to build anything unless if people want to turn up and just have a paycheck and go home, then that's great. But if you want to build something extraordinary, it doesn't matter whether it's owners, investors, or people that work there. They all need to be on that same path, coming into work for the same reasons, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, like Jay said, the culture that we've always started out with has kind of seen us through the couple of years as people that have left us to go on their own paths, but they still come in regularly to see us. We see them at different parties and things like that, and events, so that we just cross paths at and all this kind of stuff. And it's always a great time to catch up and see how they're going as well. And yeah, I think it's just a great thing, and people just want to be a part of it.
It's fantastic.
Like what can I do extra? So what's coming up that I can do? So I think that's a great culture to have in a business, and that's what we try. That's what we wanted to really achieve this year, and kind of get that in place. And I think that's something that we've done quite well. So that's something to be proud of. And
with one of the previous episodes we did, we obviously had everyone here that's a co-founder of Revel, and sort of the roles that they had to start off with when we were beginning. Did you think you'd ever have such great people in here working for you that really see it as something of their own and behave in that way?
Look, I can honestly say one of the first things I wanted to do to open a company was to create a place where it was really lovely to work, because I've worked for people that aren't so lovely, and I've been treated a very particular way and micromanaged, and I always felt that I had something more to give, but I wasn't allowed to give it because I was inside someone else's box. So whatever company was going to be, I wanted to make a place that had great culture. I can't tell you at the very beginning, I said I wanted to do it all by myself. Like, there was this massive naivety, very ignorant view. But when I spoke to Flexi and Mark and the guys, and we onboarded them and we started building that team, I wanted to make sure that it was definitely the right team. And it wasn't just friends, it was people that could, we talked about this, like adding value back and connect and support each other. And yeah, shit, it's a great team. Like, I could not ask for a better team. And they're not here right now because they're busy doing exciting
having their days off
for the future.
whatever they do.
Goddamn 9-to-5ers.
But the thing about that too is, I mean, hiring people is hard because you go off a resume and a conversation and maybe not much else. But if you have a group of people that behave a certain way, they'll either start behaving like that or they'll realise it's maybe not the place for them anyway. So
they self-select.
Exactly. I think that by doing that, you're solving one of your other problems, which is just those staffing issues.
Yeah, we hire people based on, would you want this person sitting at your family dinner table and sitting next to your 3.5-year-old son? Because the reality is that's what we do with staff parties. They come to my home and I cook them steak on my Weber and we have a great time, and my boy's there and my wife, and it's like, we are a family business. I live and breathe it, right? So the people, if you ask yourself that question when you're interviewing, would I let this person be with my son or my wife? Yeah, sure. Okay, and that's the cultural fit. And then the skills and the aptitude and all that stuff, that will just unravel itself and, create something good. One of the things I'm really proud of, actually, is a little story. The pizza chef that actually kicked off the pizzeria when we first opened, Chris Barnett, fantastic young lad, fully he was an engineer in training, and he stopped his engineering degree for a little while and worked for his dad in a wood-fired pizza business. And his old man sold it and got another job. And Chris was kind of like, oh, I loved it, and I want to start a pizzeria myself. And he saw the job about starting one, so he came in and helped us build it. And along the way, he was exposed to everything we were doing. And it was like hustle, like massive hustle. And we were all working long hours, and he's just like, he said to me once, he goes, probably about a year later, he goes, through being here, I've seen what's been going on, and it's made me realise that I have an engineering background and I should go back and finish that and give everything so I can do something really wonderful and create something on my own. And I was like, that's fantastic. Can I support you doing that? And he's like, I'd love to just drop back to part-time so I can go back to university. And I was like, cool, that is a great story. Like, he was just so passionate about it in the beginning, and then he's like, but I know I can do engineering because I've got the mind for it and I loved it. And he reconnected with that, and then we supported him for probably 6 to 12 months, 6 to 8 months.
Something like that, yeah.
And as he slowly did a transition to go back into full-time uni, and it was a great story, I was so sad to see him go because he's such a beautiful guy and he did such great work for us. And I mean, the pizza dough is Chris, it's just an amazing pizza dough. Yeah. But also I was happy to go, good work, kid, pat him on the bum, off you go, get back into that engineering degree and, go build a bridge and put your name on it type thing. And we only part of little tiny part of that story, but it's nice that we could help our people grow. So one of the things in our business case is actually for Revel to be a good people generator, and try and bring good people in and help them along their journey, and they'll spit out and do other things, and that's part of life, but hopefully they'll take their experiences from working here and they'll love the culture, and they'll know what work environment they love to work in, what they can work in, and they can go and add value from what they've learned from us somewhere else.
And that's just something so, I wouldn't say left of field, but it's just not things you maybe think about when you start a business. It's not what everyone thinks about when, some people might see workplaces like, oh yeah, I just punch the clock and sort of go home. But he needed that to get into the next place. Yeah. And if that's his destination, then that's fantastic. But to not just be able to make great beer, pizzas, food and all that sort of thing, to actually give someone that which helps them later on in life, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.